It's the feeling.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural edition of the Clarence Bug Show. To coin a phrase from some folks that I'm pretty close to, the reports of my demise greatly exaggerated. It is such a pleasure to be here with you this morning, and obviously coronavirus, that is going to be the issue of the day. But as we work our way through today's inaugural edition of the show, I want you to be sure to stick around because we got a couple of guys that a lot of you are familiar with, wink, wink, and they, like yours truly, will be launching a show in the near future. Be sure to stick around and we'll share that info with just a privileged, couple of 100,000 of our closest friends. As you're well aware, I'm sure by now, Governor John Bel Edwards over this past weekend issuing the next phase, if you will, of the coronavirus norm here in Louisiana. Kicking in 5 o'clock this evening, it is the stay-at-home order. Entirely new dynamic now for the folks here in South Louisiana. And I'm going to be the first to tell you, guys, girls, I'm going to be brutally honest with you to start the show, because this is what we do. You have heard, if you've listened to me on the radio for any number of years, we coined a phrase, when you fail to govern yourself, you consent to be governed. I'll tell you, out and about this past weekend, looking at how we have governed ourselves, it was just a matter of time before we had to get to the next level. You go into the store, you'll see a lot of folks that are practicing the correct social distancing, but you'll see other people walking around oblivious to the world around them. It is a new norm. It's a different day. And quite frankly, we kind of put ourselves, no, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We didn't kind of put ourselves in this situation. We put ourselves in the situation. Standing in the checkout line just yesterday, I'm noticing all the people around me that are nowhere near 6 feet away. And I'm saying to myself, okay, Clarence, how do you let these people know that they're violating your social space and the space of all these other people? And before I could open my mouth, that little voice in the back of my head says, well, you might want to read the facial language, the body language of the other people standing in line, because quite frankly, the number of people that are walking around in society that are on edge these days, you got to be careful on how you say certain things to certain people at certain times. Don't know if you could see that, but just offset, Marty Campbell cameraman extraordinaire is standing there with his tape measure. You see, 6 feet right there, social distancing. Yeah. Carry one of those with you the next time you go to Walmart and notice how many people are violating this. Guys, girls, police yourselves. When you do that, you don't have to worry about someone else policing you. It is a different day now, and quite frankly, the ramifications of not policing yourself could carry some fatal consequences. Throughout the course of the show today, 831, write this down, 1029. I'll see if Jonathan can put this up on a graphic for us as we go throughout the course of the show. 831-1029. I've heard from this expert, that expert, the other expert. What I've not heard from is you. And of course, you know that's what we do. We love talking with the good folks of South Louisiana. So how are you and your family faring with the new coronavirus norm? What has been the biggest adjustment that you've had to make? What about your kids? What's the big adjustment that they've had to make? What have you been most impressed with? And yeah, I know, I gotta go there. What have you been least impressed with as far as the reaction from our state and from our nation? Quite frankly, most impressed here in South Louisiana, and I guess it's only fair, we should have a leg up on other people. I mean, after all, we go through hurricane season every year. We go through floods, we go through tornadoes, we go through all sorts of natural disasters. And quite frankly, when it comes down to it, we are experts at helping one another. We are the salt of the earth. We are the folks that do it probably better than anybody else. Now, conversely, we are also, and while it pains me to say it, we're being brutally honest today, we are also some of the least educated when it comes to things that matter most. How else do you explain a segment of society, Louisiana, that cares more about our fellow man, more willing to give each other the shirts off our proverbial backs, and yet we have the highest growth rate of coronavirus per capita than any other place in the country? A lot of people would say a lesser educated population is one that typically finds itself suffering in certain areas. And the growth rate of the coronavirus could well be one of those particular issues. Now, all that being said, you don't have to be the possessor of a college degree to listen to what the powers that be are telling us is in our best interest to do. You don't have to be the brightest darn bulb in the chandelier to understand that if you don't want to catch something, stay away from someone who has it. Duh, it's not rocket science, guys, girls. It's not all that tough to figure out. And quite frankly, listen, I get it. I understand. It's an inconvenience for a lot of us. But when the rubber meets the road at the end of the day, it's not just about you. It's about that elderly parent. It's about that elderly grandparent. It's about that person that may or may not have it, has it and doesn't know they have it, and are unwittingly passing it on to someone else. They pass it to that person in the 14 days that it could conceivably take to show symptoms. How many other people have they passed that off to? Starting to see a picture here? That could well explain why we have the highest growth rate of any per capita region in the entire United States. Now, it doesn't mean, y'all, that we have to stop being Louisianians. Louisianians are known as some of the most hospitable people on the planet. We will feed anybody, anytime, anywhere. We will hug, we will welcome anybody, anytime, anywhere. It's a part of who we are. It's ingrained in us. We're Louisianians. It's what we do. But the fact of the matter is, guys and girls, it's a new norm. It is a new norm. And the sooner we come to grips with that, the sooner we come to the realization of that, the better off we're all going to be. Speaking of, saw this weekend where Life Tabernacle Church, and we're going to get into this a little more as the show continues. Local church holding in blatant violation of everything every elected official has asked of us in recent memory, holding almost mega service church services over the weekend, all the way back to last Tuesday, 300, 400, 500 people in a service. Let me say for the record, and a lot of people will back this up. I don't know if I'd go so far as what some would say, yeah, Clarence is one of them Bible thumpers. I'm not going to go that far. But I certainly am not ashamed of professing my love for God. I put that is the only thing I will ever put in front of my country is my love of God. But I also have to understand this is a greater issue than a freedom of religion and the freedom to assemble and worship the God that I love. At the end of the day, the majority of the people that go into that service, again, they are not exempt from this. And when it happens and you find out 2 weeks down the road that you have contracted this from a church service, the number of people that you have potentially infected since that time, you cannot begin to put a number on. So we're going to have to make some hard decisions here, guys and girls. And quite frankly, I don't envy being the mayor of a city like Central, the mayor of a city like Baker, New Roads, Zachary, smaller communities all across South Louisiana where you're going to have some resistance. You're going to have people that, Clarence, and people ain't got no business trying to tell me we can or cannot have church. So at the end of the day, the powers that be are going to have some tough decisions to make. And quite frankly, I don't think any of us ever thought we would live in a country where the government could come in and shut down your church service. You think about things like this and you go back to Nazi Germany. You go back to Mussolini and folks of that ilk that had to resort to measures like this to push their own agenda. But when all is said and done, there is a greater good here. There's a greater good that we all have to take into account. And quite frankly, if we are not going to do this for ourselves, then who can we expect to do it for? 831-1029. Call me up, let's talk. 831-1029. How are you dealing with the new coronavirus norm? What's been the biggest adjustment for you? The biggest adjustment for your kids? And at the end of the day, what have you been most impressed with about our fellow Louisianians? Most impressed with, and of course on the other side of that coin as well, least impressed as well. 831-1029. It is a pleasure to be back on the air and back with you guys and girls again all across the great state of Louisiana, particularly here in South Louisiana. Governor John Bel Edwards ramping this thing up, taking us to an entirely new level here in East Baton Rouge. While the number of coronavirus cases have been minimized, know full well that we have not in any way, shape, or form reached the peak of this just yet. We're going to get to head to our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll see maybe if we can pull a couple of guys in that would love to say howdy to you guys and girls at home, because they will be spending, yeah, that's you guys, that's you over there, yeah, they will be spending some time with you in the very near future as well. We will be here on the Pelican for you, and we hope that you have written it down. 831-1029. I'd love to hear from you. 831-1029 is the number to call to get you on board on the Clarence Bugg Show.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. taste the feeling. Hey now, give it your best, put the broken lies to rest. Looked up to the skies, I see desire in your eyes, but you can't keep it in your heart. 'Cause misery loves company. 'Cause misery loves company. Cold and hungry like a dog in the street. I get a raw deal every one.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Welcome back to the inaugural edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Do not attempt to adjust your television sets. That's right. The band is back together again.
Part of the band is not in the shot.
Part of the band's not in the shot. Yeah, we'll get him in it. We'll get him in there. Yeah.
What the distance how's that?
Close enough.
Is that close enough?
That's close enough. I know I took your temperature as you walked through the door, so I know you're not, showing symptoms yet.
I'm abnormal.
Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher, yours truly, Clarence Bugs. I guess we're gonna have to coin the phrase South Louisiana's talk team.
Yeah, I like it.
So.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, how are you guys?
Good, you?
Very
I'm
well.
well.
Feeling very, very healthy today.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a good start. That's a good start for the day. So you guys we're gonna be sharing a space here in the near future.
Indeed
right?
we are. Indeed we are.
So why don't you tell the folks what's coming up?
Well, Kevin and I will be in the same time slot tomorrow. For those of you who follow our podcast, The Morning Exiles, it's going to be very similar to that, only it's going to be Exiles Television.
Wait. Is that the actual name of the podcast?
The Morning Exiles.
I love it. Well, you may have to change that because you've been brought out of exile now.
Well, we've gone to another medium, so I consider us improving our lot in exile.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
But we're going to bring our type of talk, the same type of thing that we all used to do on the same station,
Right.
to television all over South Louisiana on the Pelican, and glad to be doing it. So many cable systems, as well as some open-air TV stations that cover this. We're going to meet some new friends.
Yeah. And of course, get reacquainted with some old ones as well. I would hope. So how are you guys dealing with the new coronavirus norm?
Well, I'm going stir crazy. I've spent, of course, over the last several months, we have all spent a great deal of time at home lately, if you know what I'm talking about.
Unemployed. Call it what it is. Yeah.
But, Bill and I have been doing this podcast, which gets us out of the house a few days a week, but still, now with this, I don't want to call it enforced, but this strongly suggested social distancing, self-quarantine, whatever you want to call it. I've watched a lot of streaming television. I got to tell you, season 2 of Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime is awesome.
Good stuff. Yeah.
But I actually I've been doing a lot of reading in preparation for our podcast, and a lot of consuming some of the scientific news, and it has made me a lot more careful than I was just 10 days ago. I do think that we're going to flatten the curve in Baton Rouge. I'm worried about New Orleans not flattening the curve because they're a rather non-compliant population.
Yeah.
And having the Katrina effect, where a lot of people from New Orleans that are going to make our curve bulge again are going to come right up Highway 30 and I-10 into the Baton Rouge area. And I'm really kind of worried about that.
Is that human nature, or is that simply something that is innate to the Louisiana spirit that's in us?
I think.
Or is it a least educated populace?
Well, and Kevin, you may differ because you spent a lot of more time in Louisiana than I did, but I do think that the New Orleans population has had so many scares. This hurricane's going to be the big one. You're all going to die.
Yep.
Right.
And they get a quarter of an inch of rain and a 4-mile-an-hour wind.
Right.
And so I think they automatically think people are calling wolf.
Right.
But we're seeing the death toll there. We're seeing it rising. And I do think that a lot of those people, it's kind of in their nature, you need to stay home.
Right.
Okay, darling, but first I'm going to stop and get a po' boy at Sammy's.
Got to go make
And then
groceries.
I got to go make groceries at
Yeah.
Wegmans.
Yeah.
And I got to pick up some liquor if we're going to be in the house.
Right.
And,
And by this time, you spread it to about 69 other people before you get home to
Yeah.
shelter in
And
place.
there's also this. What did New Orleans have that we didn't have? They had a great, big, gigantic Mardi Gras celebration
point.
just at the dawn of this
Great
outbreak.
point, Gallagher.
And they didn't even slow down.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even slow it down. And when there's that much money tied up in things, what do you do? That's a difficult call for anybody to make.
Well, the national experts just finally tied that tin can to the tail of Mardi Gras and talking about New Orleans.
Right.
What worries me is largely because of Orleans Parish, Jefferson Parish, St. Bernard Parish, and the North Shore. We are seeing an extremely fast growth rate now that we got more testing going.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean that it's Armageddon, but it does mean that, we really need to, in my opinion, concentrate our quarantine efforts on the area that needs to be, shall we say, a little more strictly quarantined.
Right.
To kind of tamp this down.
Right. What does your gut tell you guys? You got a gut feeling on, you look at the numbers coming out of the Orleans, the Jefferson area, highest growth rate of any segment in the entire country. If we were to have the ability right now to test as many people as we want to test, need to test, where would the actual numbers be right now?
I think we would probably find, we're getting close to 1,000. I think we might find double that if we tested the entire state.
Right.
But I think you're also going to get into that normal distribution where 80% of your tests are going to come back negative and only 20% are going to be positive.
Right.
Then you got to worry about how severe are the positives.
Right.
Are they like those people in Lambeth House, old,
Right.
compromised, multiple health conditions? Or are they healthy 30-somethings that said, oh, I'm not going to get it, and have been out basically spreading it before they start to feel bad?
Right.
The thing to note is that virtually everyone of any age group that has died so far from this virus has had some kind of underlying health issue,
Yes.
which has compromised their immune system.
Right.
There was a 39-year-old man that died. He had leukemia, though, so the virus just took him out and
Didn't
took him
take
out
much,
in a matter of days.
Yeah.
If you're a reasonably healthy person and you take control of your life and take responsibility for yourself and don't spread this virus around, contain yourself as much as possible, there's a really good chance that the vast majority of us are going to come through just fine.
Now, I look at the three of us, and short of the Just for Men 5-minute hair color and a few doodads here and there.
Is that it?
We are all...
I got to get some of that.
We're all in that category now where, and believe it or not, at one time in life, all of us were the younger generation.
Now
And-
we all
and
technically qualify as elderly.
Yeah, exactly. We're like the Geritol concert tour now. But back then, we shared that same trait with the millennials now. We're invincible. The things that, we're worried about society, it'll never happen to us. We're young, we're healthy, we're virile, not a big deal. As you now transition to where we find ourselves now, how are you viewing what the millennials are doing and their attitude toward all of this when you say to yourself, you little idiot, I'm the guy that you could kill if you're not careful?
I understand, but I don't like it.
The spring breakers really disappointed me, and also Florida not shutting down spring break sooner was a disappointment to me. And but like you said, they're all in their 20s, their early 20s, and when I was in my 20s, I thought nothing could stop me.
And quite frankly, had this happened when we were in our 20s, would you have foregone spring break? Be honest with me, Gallagher.
Hell no.
Oh, there you go.
I would have said, I don't believe how many of these bar rooms I have to myself.
Right. You'd have been there just whooping it up, having a good old time.
But you know, seriously, the information on the front end was pretty spotty. You know, they started saying, oh, we're not going to have deaths because, 80% of the people don't even know they've got it.
Right.
And if you're young, you don't have to worry. They said that. They were very, very specific. So I don't blame these kids who've been waiting for spring break.
Right.
If that's the information that's stuck in their head, I don't think they're being dilettantes. Well, some of them are being dilettantes purposely.
Right.
But I mean, you got to admit, the information on the front of this was pretty confusing.
It is, of course, the information age. And I guess perception is reality for so many people. But in a situation like this, what we find ourselves dealing with right now, is social media, the 24-hour news cycle, does it have a propensity to do more harm than good? I mean, you look at some of the stuff that's floating around on the internet. You listen to people, some of the things that they claim they heard from this source and that source, and it makes you just want to, go somewhere out of sight and just pull your hair out.
Kevin?
Well, first, what I'd like to say is yes, especially Facebook. I'm seeing a lot of useless information on Facebook, and I'm gonna make a true confession. 2 weeks ago, I was part of the useless information on Facebook. I was a non-believer in the seriousness of the virus. I thought this was something that was ginned up. It smelled to me like a good way to throw the United States into a total panic, and it worked just fine. And I doubted the severity of the virus. But as the death toll mounts, I'm taking it a lot more seriously now. And I'm also taking very seriously what I share and like and perpetuate on social media.
Do you think most people are taking that responsible approach still?
No.
Some are. If you've been following Karen or I or both of us on Facebook, you've noticed we're posting pictures of our baby owls that we have in our backyard.
See, that's what I want to see. Get my mind off of this mess.
A lot, and people are saying that, but a lot of people in our neighborhood have said, I would love to see them. And we said, come on over. We showed them where in the backyard it was. And a few people are coming with their cameras, and they are staying, if there's more than one neighbor there, they're staying 6 to 8 feet away. And they're saying, I'm going to wait until you're done. But, the social media type of thing, it's a you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And Kevin posted something about, have you ever unfriended anybody? And right after he posted that, I had to admit I did. And I unfriended someone who was a relative of this preacher up in Central, who had posted what a wondrous preacher he was and how he was bringing everybody under God's protection.
Right.
And, I didn't say anything mean about it. I don't want to see anything from that person, because that guy claims to be able to cure HIV and cancer and being gay. He proved that. And I'm sorry.
You can cure people being gay?
I just don't want to see that. And I think what he's doing is terribly irresponsible and self-serving.
He is Bill Profita. He is Kevin Gallagher. They will be in the 10 to 12 slot, along with yours truly, all the way through the week here on the Pelican. Guys, looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Clarence.
We got the band back together.
Got the band back together again. All we need now is some backup singers. Call me up at 831-1029. Cast your lot, and we'll see if we can't make a space for you in the band. 831-1029. Call me up. Let's talk. We'll get this second break of hour 1 out of the way, and we'll come back with more right where you've got it on the Pelican and today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Stay close.
Looked up to the skies, I see desire in your
guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Welcome back to the inaugural edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, we're still, pardon the pun, working out the bugs. Yeah. Marty Campbell, Jonathan Poche, Alan Traylor, Bert Carson, the whole crew. We are going to be working our way through all of this, as you might expect, but we are all hyped up, amped up, and so looking forward to it. The coronavirus new norm. It is what it is. And as if you were with us in the last segment, talking with Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher, who, by the way, if you missed the last segment, will also be here on the Pelican, 10 to 12. And by the way, tell all your friends, if you missed the live broadcast going on right now, we will replay the shows at night, 10 p.m. until 12 midnight. So help us get the word out there. Sponsors, we'd love to have you come on board and help disseminate this information all across South Louisiana. Talking with our fellow Louisianians and sharing pertinent information is what we're all about, and it's what we do. It has really been a big adjustment. And I would imagine for most of you, if you're like me, just being conscious, having to unlearn certain things. I'm a South Louisiana boy. When I go to the grocery store and I'm standing in the checkout line, or if I'm looking at something on the shelves, I strike up a conversation with people. And you know, when you converse with people, you get close to them, you talk to them, you shake hands with them. When you see someone you hadn't seen in a while, you give that person a big warm hug. I've had to unlearn all of those things. And you know, as a real South Louisianian, that's a whole lot easier said than done. We all grew up showing our love for our fellow Louisianians, and most of us for our fellow Americans. And of course, here in South Louisiana, we're a lot more demonstrative with that than a lot of other people in other parts of the country are. Nothing against those folks, they're just not Louisiana folks. You know, that's what we do. But in the wake of this new norm now, we have all had to learn some things, social distancing, and we've had to unlearn other things. That just automatic propensity when you see someone that you know to walk up and give them a hug, shake their hand, pat on the back, the whole nine. Now, add to that the mere fact that there are potentially some fatal consequences involved in this, and it has the ability to make you unlearn and learn the things that you need to a whole lot faster than you would under normal circumstances. It is enlightening on one hand, it is scary on the other hand. But I guess if there is a saving grace, a silver lining to all of this, if you will, is that at the end of the day, we're Louisianians and we're Americans. And we will get through this. We will get over this. We will get by this. It's going to take a concerted effort. It's going to take some realistic thinking and action on the part of a lot of our fellow Louisianians and Americans. But if we all decide to do this, I am one that's of the opinion firmly that there isn't anything that we can't overcome. Now, we're going to have to make some tough decisions, quite frankly. And in our second hour, hopefully we'll have the opportunity to get some calls from you and talk about how we should deal with individuals that for whatever reason, religious, conscientious objections, whatever reason, refuse to go along with the established guidelines set down by government agencies and the, quote, powers that be. Specifically, talking about Life Tabernacle Church over in Central. Everyone knows what the new guidelines are that have been issued, but they, based on religious grounds, are refusing to abide by those principles. How should we deal with that? Let me say for the record, right off the bat, I don't think any of us want to live in a country where you're in a church service and you're looking around over your shoulder because at any minute there may be National Guardsmen, there may be state troopers, there may be folks from the Department of Homeland Security coming in and shutting down your church service. None of us want to live in an environment like that. But at the same time, none of us also feel that good about having 1,000 people walk out of a place where there is the potential for massive spreading of this virus, leave that environment, and then go out in the general public where you and I happen to be, or, God forbid, our parents, our grandparents, or our kids. It's a tough decision that's going to have to be made. And at the end of the day, I am of the opinion the phrase I've coined over many years is still applicable today. When you fail to govern yourself, you in essence are consenting to be governed. At the end of the day, if this trend continues, you're constantly housing 500, 700, 800, 1,000 people for service after service after service, the potential for the number of people to be infected and spread expands exponentially. And quite frankly, it goes against everything that we're trying to do. Whether or not we will allow that to continue is a tough decision that's going to have to be made. Again, I love the Lord as much as anybody watching this show right now, probably more than a lot. But I also love my life. And standing in the checkout line at the gas station or wherever, next to an individual that I have no clue whether they just left that church service on Tuesday or Wednesday or Sunday and may now be carrying and infecting others with the coronavirus is not something that I particularly relish taking a chance on doing. So whether or not I want the government to have the power to walk in and shut that church service down is something that I'm going to have to entertain. Pure and simple. It is something that we're going to have a tough discussion about. And when all is said and done, Marty, if you would, grab that for me. When all is said and done, the greater good is what we should be most concerned about here. When all is said and done, the greater good is the only thing, actually, that we should be concerned about. Because quite frankly, with the way this thing has manifested itself, you can go a week, 2 weeks before you start showing any symptoms. And in that time span, God only knows how many people you may have infected at that point. So yes, I understand freedom of religion. Yes, I understand being able to congregate, worship with those of a like mind, worship with those that care as much as you care about the things that you care about. But at the end of the day, when you leave that service, the possibility that you have contracted something and could spread it to someone else with fatal consequences, we're going to have to decide which end of the scale carries the most weight? Your right to do that or your right to be safe? We've got Debbie in Baton Rouge. By the way, 831-1029 is the number that will get you aboard. Debbie, good morning and welcome to the Clarence Bug Show. How are you, Debbie?
Well, hello.
Hi there, Debbie.
Hey, how are you?
I am well, and yourself?
I'm doing fine.
So how are you faring with this new coronavirus?
Well, I am being positive, and like you said, we love the Lord, and I think that we just need to be safe. People need to listen, stay at home, and then within the weeks and months to come, we will rally back as Americans and get back to business as usual.
So what has been the biggest adjustment that Debbie's had to make so far through all of this?
Well, my adjustment is with, of course, you know, I own Debbie's Bridal, and we had prom coming up and weddings coming up, and of course a lot of people are upset that this is not happening.
Right.
But we need to be aware more that we'll be alive, and then in the future, you know, parents can give proms after this is all over. Brides can get married after that.
Right.
And that's just, you know, concerning my business. I think
right.
in every other business, we need to keep positive and be the good Americans that we are and help each other out now in times of need. And listen and be aware and stay inside.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get married if you're dead, right? So, well, listen.
Well, Clarence, some would say if you get married, you're dead. No. That's just, I'm joking.
Well,
I'm so glad
I know your husband, and I'm not going there. I'm not going there, Debbie. But listen, if there's an individual watching right now, and they're saying, okay, we want to go ahead with our wedding. We're just going to scale this thing all the way down to just immediate family members. But we've been planning this for a while. We want to go ahead and do this. Can they call you up and you make arrangements to work with them in that regard, Debbie?
If someone needs a dress, I have listed on my Facebook page, my Twitter page, that they can call and make a private appointment with me to purchase a dress.
Awesome.
If they have already planned their wedding, then they need to consult with where they're having the wedding at. I'm sure that people are going to be working with each other if they've already got a deposit.
Right.
Now, we'll work around these times. We're Americans. We're good Louisiana, trustful people. And we're going to work around these times, and I'm sure that these brides will be able to do their big weddings or whatever. But if they want to do a small wedding at home, you know, with just a few people, and they need a dress, they can call Debbie's Bridal at 225-256-6242 and make an appointment, and I'll be happy to help them. And as far as our prom girls, I'm sure moms and parents are going to come together as soon as this is all over, because I do believe in Jesus Christ, and He will help us conquer this.
Amen.
And they'll have their prom.
All right, I've got about 15 seconds before I head to break. Give us that phone number again, if you would, for Debbie's Bridal.
Okay, it's 225-256-6242.
256-6242, area code 225 for Debbie's Bridal.
That's right, Airline
Awesome.
Highway.
Awesome. Debbie, take care of yourself, dear. All right, tell you what, I've got line one is held up. We're going to go to quick commercial break. 831-1029. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching and you have a business and you are open, you've had to make some adjustments, call me up. We'd love to help you get the word out, as we just did with Debbie's Bridal. 831, new number, trying to remember it, 1029. 831-1029. Call me up. Business owners, we'd love to have the opportunity to help spread the word about your new takeout, your new custom, what have you, to try to help local businesses stay in business. Tell you what, Marty, we'll go ahead, we'll toss this one to break, and we'll come back with more of the inaugural edition of the Clarence Buggs Show, right where you've got it, only on the Pelican. Stay with us.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to the inaugural edition of the Clarence Buggs Show. Clarence Buggs here, and we are, as we progress our way through the inaugural show today, making ourselves available for local businesses. And of course, we're talking with individuals about all the adjustments that you've had to make, how you're faring with the new coronavirus norms. But we're also in an effort to help local businesses at 831-1029. Call us up. Tell us if you're open, what sort of adjustments you've had to make, any new services that you may be offering that people in your particular part of the world can take advantage of, and hopefully help generate more business for you, meet them where their needs are, and it's just a win-win for everybody. Let's hit the road a piece and head over to New Orleans. Ashley, you're up on the Clarence Buggs Show. Hi, Ashley.
Yes, hello, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, trying to keep myself positive with all this going on.
Bless your heart.
I'm trying to stay positive because I have a lot of health problems. I have asthma, and it's hard for me to keep myself indoors here because I'm used to being out and about, and it's just hard. It's just hard for me to really focus. Because I work for the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans in New Orleans, and it's hard for me to stay focused.
Right. So what have your coworkers been like? How have they been dealing with this, particularly those with the Pelicans, knowing that the season has been put on hold for the time being? How are they handling it?
We're trying to handle it, but it's not easy because it's harder. It's harder for us because we do so much, and it's just hard for us to just keep positive. And I'm trying to tell them to stay positive because we just want to get back to the season.
Yeah. So when you talk with them, What's their biggest concern, Ashley?
They're worried about that they won't be no more basketball.
They're worried about their jobs, in other words.
Yeah.
Now, I understand in talking with Marty that took your call, something about some slippers you got going on. What's that all about?
That's because I work for the Saints and the Pelicans, and they give me a lot of free stuff. I got 999 pair of men and women's slippers, and I just wanted to know if you knew any of your men or women friends who want some of these slippers.
What kind of slippers are we talking about? Are these Saints?
They're
Are
like
they Pelicans?
The open foot slide. Yeah, they're the Saints and Pelicans, the open foot slide.
Wow. And you got almost 1,000 pair that you want to give away?
Yeah, and I wanted to know, do you wear slippers or anything, you, Mr. Clarence?
Oh, do I? Yes, indeed, Ashley.
Do you have like a cell number, and I can send you some pictures of them so you can at least check them out?
Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to put you on hold, and I'll put Marty, our producer, our set producer, back on the phone with you. Have him he'll give you my cell number, and we can talk after the show is over today. How about that?
Okay, sure.
All right, well, let me put you on hold here. Hold on, Ashley. Marty, if you would grab her, because this is a new phone system here, and I don't know if I put her on hold. I don't want to just drop the call there. Let me know when you pick her back up, Marty.
Okay, hey, Ashley.
All right, there we go. All right, fantastic. 831-1029 will get you aboard here. Business owners in particular, those of you that have made whatever adaptation you've had to make with your business. Call me up and we would love to give you the free advertising, help you get the word out. I know many of you watching right now have had to transition, of course, from dine-in strictly to take-out. Don't know what your hours are, if you've maybe enlarged the hours of serving the public because, you know, you're trying to make up for that lost revenue. We'd love to help you get the word out to your customers. And of course, there may be some things out there that the public can do to make it easier for you to serve them. And that coin obviously has two sides to it. If you are a member of the public and you're finding now, as you go through the new coronavirus norms, that there are some things that businesses aren't doing that could make life a lot easier for you, then call us up at 831-1029. That, of course, is area code 225. We're right here in the capital region. And we'll help get that word out to businesses to let them know, look, this is what your customers need. This is what will make life easier for them, which of course makes them a lot more likely to spend their money with you and help you get through this crisis. Let's just be honest here, guys and girls. These are our fellow Louisianians we're talking about. And yeah, it's inconvenient in a lot of ways, but at the end of the day, every single job that we can save is another Louisianian. It's another neighbor. It's another friend. It's another person from the neighborhood that is gainfully employed. When all is said and done, these are the folks that we play with, we work with, we worship with, and these are the folks that, when all is said and done, will supply jobs for our fellow Louisianians. It's gonna take some adaptation, but when all is said and done, quite frankly, I can't think of any number of people across the country that are better at adapting to circumstances than folks here in Louisiana. You think back to the great flood of 2016. You think back to Katrina, to Hurricanes Rita, and any long list of hurricanes and natural disasters. When the rubber meets the road, Louisianians adapt and overcome. It's what we do. It's just a part of our nature. So when all is said and done, rest assured, guys and girls, we're going to get through this. And I have no doubt that we will be better, stronger, bigger, bolder as a result of it. Now, is that to say it's going to be easy? Not by any stretch of the imagination. But the old saying is that nothing is worth having that isn't worth working for. And when all is said and done, we all want a better Louisiana. When all is said and done, we all want a better United States of America. And in the words of the old Tower of Power song, sometimes you got to go through it to get to it. It's just the nature of the beast. Things aren't nearly as easy many times as we would like them to be. Marty, I thought you were telling me 158.30 was the out, but I know that there is also the delay in there. So you might need to be a little more clear when you give me those signals there, because I have absolutely no idea what that last one was. We'll figure it all out. Again, this is the inaugural edition. It's the very first one. So there's going to be things that don't go as according to plan. It's live television. You got to love it. And by the way, help us spread the word. Get the word out there. If you missed the live broadcast, every night when we air the show during the course of the week, we will also replay it from 10 p.m. until midnight. So help us spread the word that we are back on the air, local Louisiana talk. It's what we do. You know, I cannot tell you the number of people since leaving the prior job on radio, the number of people that I've encountered that have told me, Clarence, we don't have anywhere anymore where South Louisiana folks can talk to other South Louisiana folks live about the problems that are plaguing us and the problems we're facing. Well, the great folks here at the Pelican Sports Broadcasting Network, Alan Traylor, Bert Carson, the whole crew, they've decided to step in and fill that void. So you now have, again, a vehicle, pardon the pun, from the theme song. You've got an outlet where we can talk Louisianian to Louisianian about the things that are plaguing us and the problems that we face. And together, we'll come up with solutions. Together, we will find ways to get through all of this. 831-1029 is the number that will get you on board here. Individuals, how are you dealing? How are you faring? How are you coming along with the new norm and the new adjustments that you've had to make? And have you come across anything recently that, had it not been for the coronavirus, you never would have thought of dealing with whatever the situation is in that fashion? If so, give me a call, 831-1029. You know, as we get ready to head to the top of the hour break, I found it particularly interesting watching local media coverage and national media coverage of the coronavirus. As school systems started shutting down, the number of reporters that said and alluded to the fact that, quote, parents now have a new job, having to educate their kids. I thought that was part of a parent's job all along, was to educate our kids. It just goes to show you how far we have drifted away from certain things in our country and our state. And it's amazing how sometimes something has to happen to draw us back to where we should be and where we are supposed to be. It's convenient and easy to allow someone else to educate your kids, but at the end of the day, when all is said and done, teachers aside, public education aside, Department of Education aside, the ultimate teacher for your children still should be you, the parent. Maybe the silver lining out of all of this will eventually end up being, we as Americans will end up being forced to go back to the true spirit that made this country the great country that it is. That is the spirit of self-reliance, the spirit of self-determination, looking out for self and banding together as neighbors to take care of ourselves. Hopefully, that will be the silver lining when all of this runs its course. Because rest assured, it will. We will look back on this. We will hopefully learn some very important lessons. We will file these things away for future use because, you know, the old saying, nothing new under the sun. there is the possibility down the pike something else along this line is going to happen. And when it does, we'll be better prepared and the better for it. We're going to head to the top of the hour break. Marty, I know we've got to be close here. I'm looking at my time, but of course there is also the, quote, delay that we're talking about here. So taking all of that into account, I have no idea where we are right now. But okay, all right, well, we'll go ahead and take this top of the hour break. We'll get that out of the way. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about coronavirus and the decisions, the hard decisions that are going to have to be made. Stay with us, top of the hour break, and we're coming back with more of the inaugural edition of the Clarence Bugg Show.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
I did it again. Well, it's live TV. I can do this. Hold on. Never thought about that. That's one of the great things about live TV. Unless, of course, you're watching the replay tonight from 10 p.m. until midnight, in which case it will be replayed live TV. It is the inaugural edition of the Clarence Bugg Show right here on the Pelican. And if you were with us in the first hour, you saw that we have managed to put the band back together again. It is South Louisiana's talk team. Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher, and yours truly, formerly all working for the same radio broadcast family, now doing TV, and could not have happened at a better time. With the advent of the coronavirus, it is a brand new norm here in South Louisiana, something that is going to take a lot of getting used to, a lot of adjustments. But when all is said and done, we'll make it through this thing just fine. 831-1029 is the number that will get you aboard. 831-1029. So how are you faring with the new coronavirus norm? What's been the biggest adjustments that you've had to make and your kids have had to make? What have you been most impressed with? And of course, least impressed with as well. And if you are a business, and you've had to make some adjustments, new hours, new takeout, Maybe you got some specials that you're running to help folks get through all of this. We would love to help spread the word about you, your business, and the new things that you have going on. Area code 225, for those of you outside the Baton Rouge area, 831-1029, 225-831-1029. Marty, is that Jonathan on line one?
New Orleans.
That is Jonathan in the New Orleans area. Jonathan, how are you? You're up on the Clarence Bug Show.
Clarence, how are you, sir?
I'm well, big fella. How are you today?
I'm doing just fine. They're trying to survive this corona epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it.
Uh-huh. So what's been the biggest adjustment you've had to make so far, Jonathan?
Well, the kids being out of school. I mean, talk about educating the kids at home. After a week of homeschooling, I think a lot of parents out there found out that the teachers were right. You know, it's your kids. It's not the other kids. It's your kids.
Right. That's a heck of a point.
And I had to homeschool last week. I almost got fired for drinking on the job.
No, you can't drink in the classroom, Jonathan. So what does your gut tell you? How many people today, after just a week of this, now have a greater appreciation for teachers and the jobs that they do?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, my mom was an elementary school teacher growing up, and she deals with a lot of stuff. And just imagine having a classroom full of 30 of your child going crazy at the same time, come back from lunch, they just got pumped up full of Capri Sun sugar. They don't want to take a nap. They don't want to hear what you have to say.
Right.
They just want to do what they want to do. To corral 30 of my son, really, a true appreciation for teachers out there. They don't get paid enough. They've been saying that for years, but truly, this might be the thing that bumps up their salary, because it's unbelievable the job that they do on a daily basis. And really, we're trusting the youth of America to these people, not only to educate them, but to teach them how to be functioning members of society.
That's right.
Yes, responsibility does go on parents, but, I mean, your kids are at school for eight hours a day, 5 days a week. I mean, you just can't put a price on how valuable a good teacher really is.
Wow, that's a heck of a point. Now tell me, Jonathan, does your son play any sports? And if so, how has all this affected him in that regard?
I tell you what, both my sons do play sports. I have a 12-year-old and a 4-year-old. The 4-year-old was in soccer. Soccer got canceled for the rest of the season. My 12-year-old was doing travel baseball during this time of the year. He was really looking forward. Of course, he's 12 years old. The big trip at the end of the year coming up in mid-June was going to be to Cooperstown, New York.
Wow.
And, of course, New York, the whole fallout over there.
Right.
That trip has been canceled. That's really a shame. I mean, these kids, they've been playing travel ball for at least 3 or 4 years, and the Cooperstown trip is supposed to be like the culmination of their time playing travel baseball. You only get 1 year to go. 12-year-old, it's all you get. And for it to be canceled out, my heart really breaks for his whole team. Had a lot of kids in tears when the coach broke the news. My son I was disappointed. I'm not hating the fact that we're getting those fees refunded to us. That's going to be a good chunk of change that we had saved for travel baseball that now gets to be used for other things. It's going to come in handy nowadays with, I mean, businesses shutting down. Your favorite restaurants only doing to-go orders. And I got to tell you, when I had the opportunity, go patronize your favorite spots like scoreboards on Corsi. They have the to-go orders. You got to give a healthy tip. That's all these waitresses are getting.
Right.
It's not fair for them. They're trying to do their job. It's tough for them to get hours to work on the schedule because restaurants can't afford to pay all the employees they were paying at one time. So go patronize your favorite places and leave a healthy tip on your to-go order.
Outstanding. Awesome call. Jonathan, thank you, and best of luck to you as we work our way through the coronavirus, my friend.
Well, Clarence, I appreciate it, buddy. It's great to see you back on there.
Thank you, big guy. That's a heck of a call. That is a heck of a call. And as someone who does not have school-age children anymore, I hadn't thought about that, had not thought about it in that regard. But that is a heck of a point that Jonathan made in that phone call. A lot of you now realize exactly what teachers deal with on a daily basis. Take your one child, that restless individual that you have tried to find all sorts of things to occupy their time in the time that they've been out of the classroom. Multiply that times 30. And now you know what the teachers deal with every day. And I can only imagine there are educators and administrators in the school system all across the state of Louisiana right now that are sitting in their living room and they are pumping their fists and they're screaming, thank God for people like Jonathan. They get it. They get it. So hopefully, as Jonathan said, hopefully this will lead to a much greater appreciation for teachers and the jobs that they do. And in a more meaningful fashion, hopefully it will lend more to realistic efforts to boost the pay for teachers. Because when all is said and done, this is the future, guys, girls. And it's times like these where you really are forced to confront a brutal reality of what we're dealing with. And you can say what you will about teachers, the jobs that they do, and so many of us talk about, well, Clarence, look at the test scores. I don't know if they deserve more money. Well, the fact of the matter is, these are your kids, and they can only deal with the product that we send them from our homes. If they are having a hard time teaching them, well, maybe we need to take a harder look at the product that we are sending them from our homes to be taught. Just an observation. 225-831-1029 is the number that will get you aboard. 831-1029. And of course, that is in the 225 area code. We're based right here in the capital city. It is the inaugural edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. And by the way, 831-1029, 225 area code, is the number that will get you aboard. I didn't think I needed to say this, but you never know. It is it's the coronavirus age, so you can't take anything for granted. Every day that we air the show, we will replay it that night from 10 p.m. until midnight. It's easy to remember, 10 to 12 either way, a.m. and p.m. But the p.m. edition, we will not take live phone calls because we are replaying the earlier show. So if you're watching this at night, and we'll try to make it a point to have up somewhere on the screen replay so that you'll realize, oh, wait, I need to call Clarence and tell him what's going on in our household, in our neighborhood. No, it ain't that kind of party, y'all. You got to call 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Just a little point of clarification. Want to get that in there so that, and we understand full well it's going to take a little while for the word to get out. Whoa, you mean Clarence is back? Yeah, your buddy is back. But we know it's going to take a little while for the word to get out there. So do us a favor, if you will. Social media, talking with people, phone calls, the like. Let them know that you now have a Louisiana guy with a Louisiana show for Louisiana people to talk about things going on in Louisiana. I know that it's been a while, and I didn't realize until maybe this past weekend just how long it's been since we've been on air, again, talking with Louisiana folks. And it's been almost a year now. But again, we finally have a vehicle, pardon the pun, for Louisiana folks once again to talk about Louisiana issues facing us. And this coronavirus thing, unfortunately, is going to be with us for a while. It would be nice if this were another flash in the pan, but this one is a lot more serious than all the others we faced in recent memory. You think back to the SARS virus, the MERS virus, Ebola, all of the others, maybe with the exception of AIDS. This one has the potential to be around longer than any of the others that we've encountered in recent memory. But the good news is here, we managed to get through SARS, we made it through MERS, we made it through Ebola, we've made it through all of them. So I have no doubt in my mind at all that we will make it through the coronavirus as well. Is it going to be easy? Is it going to happen overnight? I think we all know the answer to that. Not going to happen. But when all is said and done, We're Louisianians, and more important, we're Americans. When our backs are against the wall, that's when we do our best work. So hang in there along with the rest of us, and we'll make it through this thing just fine. Area code 225-831-1029 is the number that will get you aboard. 225-831-1029. First break of hour 2, and we'll come back with more of the Clarence Bugg Show.
Guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Welcome back to the inaugural edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. Brand new show here for Louisiana, about Louisiana, hosted by Louisianians, and of course, taking your calls at area code 225-831-1029. Talking coronavirus today, the new norm, all the adjustments that you've had to make. How are you faring with all of this? What's been the biggest adjustments that you've had to make? And of course, we're talking as well about some tough decisions that are going to have to be made. As I'm sure you're aware of, one church in particular, and if memory serves correct, there is another church in the Carolinas that has been doing the same thing. But Life Tabernacle Church here in South Louisiana refusing to adhere to the attendance guidelines put out by Governor John Bel Edwards, asking that we limit groups. In recent memory, it was limited to groups of 250 people. That number was then whittled down to 50 people, and now we're being told to limit ourselves to taking part in gatherings of 10 people. Well, Life Tabernacle Church is refusing to abide by that. How do we deal with this? For the sake of the conversation, you're the mayor. How do you deal with this when you find out that there's a church in your city that is refusing to adhere to that? Just wondering how you would deal with this and how you think we should deal with this. I got a line for you. Grab it. Area code 225-831-1029. 225-831-1029. I think that none of us want to live in a country where what is arguably the most sacred right we have, the right to worship the God we choose to worship in the manner we choose to worship, none of us relish the idea of sitting in a church service and looking over our shoulder, wondering if and when the National Guard, state police, local police are going to walk in and shut down the service. None of us relish the idea. But at the same time, none of us relish the idea of contracting the coronavirus because someone chose to go to a 300, 500,000 member service, contract the virus, don't know they have it, and then get out into the public and spread it to you or I. Let me say for the record, I love the Lord as much as the next person, maybe more so than many, but I also love my life. And I don't want to be the victim of catching something from someone that made a conscious decision to go against what the governing bodies are asking us to do. I guess ultimately it comes down to a question, at least in this particular instance. Is this the ultimate expression of faith? Believing that God will heal this if we get it, God will protect us in this gathering from getting it. Is this the ultimate expression of faith, or is it the ultimate expression of selfishness? Not caring whether you get it and spread it to someone else because you believe the God that you serve will protect you. Now here's the question for you. Here's the question. If you attend this church service and contract the coronavirus, you encounter someone that's an atheist. They don't believe in the same God you serve. Will God protect that person from you transmitting the coronavirus to the atheist? Something to think about. For those continuing to hold services in violation of what the governor, the mayor, and others are asking as far as the number of people in attendance. How do we deal with these people? Again, I don't think there's a single person listening right now, and there may be, I don't know. I've got a line open if you fall into this category. Area code 225-831-1029, 831-1029, capital city area code 225. Do you want these services shut down by force? In an ideal world, all we would have to do is make the recommendation. Everybody would abide by what we all collectively feel is in the best interest of all of us. But as we all know by now, I'm sure, the world is not ideal and everybody does not think the same way. So consequently, we still have places like Life Tabernacle Church that are holding services, midweek services, Sunday services that are well outside the number of people attending that government officials are asking us to do. When all is said and done, flattening the curve is what we're all supposedly are about. But when you see something like this that is in direct conflict with efforts that everyone else is making, at some point, some people are going to start to wonder, should we forcibly shut this down? Again, I don't think it's something any of us want to see, but what happens if other churches are watching Life Tabernacle and see that nothing's being done to prohibit them? What happens if other churches start to do the same thing? Before you know it, on a Sunday, you've got thousands of people congregating in a small confined space and again stopping us from spreading this virus. It's a touchy subject. It really is. Because we as Americans enjoy certain freedoms and liberties that many others don't. And there are some, personally, I'm of the opinion every single one of them, all of the freedoms, all of the liberties are important. But there are some that for many Americans carry a little more weight than others. The freedom to peacefully assemble, the freedom to own and protect one's life, property, family, to bear arms, the freedom to worship what we want to worship, the way we want to worship. Those right off the top of my head are probably held more dear than many others, say as opposed to, I don't know, freedom of the press, things of that nature. They're all important, but for the average American, there are probably a handful that we relate to more than others. There are a handful of those that impact us more than others. So when all is said and done, while we should always zealously guard all of the rights, the freedoms, and the liberties, there are some that many of us relate to most. And quite frankly, you've heard me say this if you've listened to me on radio for any number of years. We also coined the frame, freedoms and liberties encroached upon by government are seldom, if ever, returned intact. Meaning, if we allow government to step over certain lines and remove certain freedoms and liberties, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion you'll never get it back. Freedoms and liberties encroached upon by government are seldom, if ever, returned intact. That's not to say that you won't get it back, but in all likelihood it will be modified, it will be changed, and it will be nowhere near what it was before government got involved. But at the same time, we also run counter to the argument, when you fail to govern yourself, you in essence consent to be governed. It's a sticky situation, and it is a part of that, quote, slippery slope. But again, if you don't take every opportunity to govern yourself, well, what happens after that? You are leaving yourself open for whatever government decides to do after that. I've got a line for you. Grab it. 225-831-1029. 225-831-1029 will get you aboard. It's a brand new norm, and God only knows how long it's going to be with us. But again, we'll get through this. Not going to be easy, not going to be quick, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And of course, as you heard me say earlier today, there's nothing worth having that isn't worth working for. It's just a part of the process. And we here in South Louisiana know it probably better than most others. Thinking just this morning, there aren't many places on the planet outside of maybe Tornado Alley and maybe the folks out on the West Coast that deal pretty much every year with wildfires. We know here in South Louisiana that we're going to have hurricanes every year. And as a result of that, we know how to prepare for certain things. We know the amount of effort that it's going to take to recover after certain things happen. So we've had ingrained within our spirit what it takes to deal with things that are cyclical in nature. Hopefully this won't become a cycle. It's something that, comes and goes, the ebb and flow of Mother Nature and the surprises that she throws at us on occasion. But when all is said and done, we as Louisianians have the fortitude to deal with certain things, and quite frankly, I'm proud to say we do it better than a lot of others. Now, that's not to say that we can let our guard down. That's not to say that we don't have to adhere to certain things. Just trying to make it easier for us as Louisianians. Got a line? We're going to head to commercial break. Grab it. Let's talk. Area code 225-831-1029. 225-831-1029. Bottom of the hour, commercial break. We'll get this out of the way, and we'll come back with more of the inaugural edition of the Clarence Buggs Show, right where you've got it on the Pelican.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to the inaugural edition of the Clarence Buggs Show. 225-831-1029 is the number that will get you aboard. Listen, I understand that it's tough. It's touchy. And as I used to say on the radio all the time, there are so many rabbits to chase in this briar patch. But it's one we're going to have to entertain, folks. Pure and simple. We're going to have to entertain. On one hand, it is the freedom to worship what you wish to worship, the way you wish to worship. On the other hand, there are government officials asking us to limit the number of people in any gathering to slow the spread of coronavirus. How do we deal with this? When you have a group of people that refuse to adhere to these guidelines, do you shut them down? Do you just kind of, well, I wish y'all would get with the program, but you know, we don't want to force people to do this, understanding the consequences here could be fatal for people. This is, it's a tough decision. And when all is said and done, again, I love the Lord as much as the next person. But I also understand that the Word tells us to render unto Caesar that what is due to Caesar. Many people interpret that to say, well, no, Clarence, they're talking about tithes and they're talking about taxes. Others view that to see that you are subject to the rule of man, just like you are subject to the rules of God. And when the government that you live under asks you to do certain things, to be a good citizen, you should abide by the things that they ask you to abide by. It's a tough situation, And, here in the quote Bible Belt, we believe what we believe and we're pretty adamant about it. But when all is said and done, it's tough. It's tough.
Shane, Prairieville.
Shane in Prairieville. Is that line 1 or line 2, Marty?
Line 1.
Line 1. All right. Shane in Prairieville. You're up on the Clarence Bugg Show. Hey, Shane.
Hey, Clarence, how you doing today?
I'm well, big guy. How are you?
Well, we're going to make it. We're going to make it anyway, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No two ways about it. So how do we deal with this, Shane?
Well, this whole thing is blown up in such phenomenal proportions. It's hard to say exactly what's going to happen. We got people believing that this is new world order, that this is ushering in the Antichrist. This is there's all kind of stories and reports out there. And to be frank with you, it looks real bad.
Right.
However, I think that we as a people, of the United States, we as a people, as a nucleus, we need to unite. And your topic this morning being on the church and only being able to gather with 50 people, and we got churches in Baton Rouge that have thousands of people in it, and that's their right. That is their right as a United States citizen.
Right.
That we could gather on Sundays, on Saturdays, on whatever day we choose to worship. We can worship together as a people. And I think that we just need to make a stand on that. To be honest with you, here's the thing. I believe that God heals. So if God heals, then ain't no virus is going to attack me unless God wants it to. Mm-hmm. And if it does, I know He can heal it, and He can choose to demonstrate His power in that situation.
So Shane, what do you say to the person though that says, Shane, I'm like you. I love the Lord. I believe in God. I believe He only wants what is good for me. I believe in the divine power of prayer. I believe in God's divine healing hand. But at the same time, I read in my Bible where it says to render unto Caesar that which is due to Caesar. Meaning, we all live under something, be it government, be it God, what have you. We should be a responsible citizen. What do you say to that person, Shane?
Well, I say this. Whenever you look at that scripture there, Jesus is talking about paying a tax. Okay, mm-hmm. And He's talking about where they're saying, and what He's basically saying is whose head is on that coin, whose money is that? That right there, that belongs to Caesar. But He also says in that same scripture, He says, but render unto God, which is in heaven, what is God's.
Right. And
God's is the worship. God's is the worship. And in this country, I can't speak for China. I can speak for China. They don't have. It's against the law to worship God. Are we coming to that? Are we coming to a place to where they're going to burn our Bibles? I think not. However, if we let the enemy in at any door, whether it be the back door or the front door,
right.
He's in.
Right. So the person listening right now, Shane, that says to themselves, Shane, I understand where you're going with this. But at the same time, the Word also tells us, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, touching and agreeing, I am a God in the midst. Ask what you will in my name, and I will grant that. You only need 2 or 3. If you take that literal interpretation, you don't need hundreds of them. So shouldn't we, as Christians, as Americans, and as Louisianians, shouldn't we be able to work this thing out where, okay, let's start having services, 7 days a week, but we'll only do 50 in this area, 50 in another area, 50 in another area, and we can make this thing work. Does it have to be confrontational? Does it have to be either or, Shane?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, I am not so stiff-necked to believe that that it's one way and that God is one way and it's one way or no way or what have you. It does say where two or three are gathered, there I am in the midst. But it also says, forsake not the assemblies of
The assembly of yourselves, right? Right.
Yeah. And so some would say, the naysayers would say, well, the Bible's contradictory. No, I beg to differ, because if you look at the context of the Scripture, in the context of the Scripture, you will find what he's talking about whenever he says, where two or three are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. What he's saying there is that there's power in numbers.
Right.
It's not limited to two or three, but at the same time, we want to be mindful of the people that are losing their family members to this virus.
Amen.
We need to be mindful of the people that are working fiercely with this virus and with everything that is going on with it, and our men and women that are in uniform, both abroad and here, our policemen and all the people that go into this. I mean, there's a lot of things going into that, and we don't want to add any stress onto them.
Right.
I mean, are we really godly people if we begin to rebel against this thing or the other thing?
And it puts us in a paradoxical situation, Shane, because at the end of the day, do I, as an individual, want my right to supersede somebody else's right? The last thing I would want to do is contract a virus that is going to take another healthcare worker to administer to me or minister to my needs. They pick it up, transmit it to their family member who ends up dying, and only because I decided my right to worship where I want to, the way I want to, is more important than somebody else's right to live and not catch the coronavirus. It's sticky, Shane. It's tough all the way around.
It is. It really is. And the Bible tells us that if my people, which are called by my name, will call on me and pray to me, I will be heard by them, and then I will hear their land.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that scripture, he's telling them, because there were stiff-necked people that had rebelled against his word and his will. And so at that point in time, he said, hey, look, if you'll come to me and you will pray to me with all your heart, he said, then I will hear you. I will hear you then, because it's by all your heart that you're praying to me and you're believing in me. And so, we just really need to get on our knees and pray.
That was, and that was going to be the next part. It says in that scripture, if you will humble yourselves. Have we gotten to a point now? Are we past the ability to humble ourselves, Shane?
Well, as a nation, I believe that we haven't. As a church, as the true church, we can't speak for everyone, every assembly,
right.
Every religion or denomination. But what we can speak for is our hearts,
right?
Because God is about our heart. He's really not concerned about our bodies. He's concerned about our heart. He can heal our bodies and he can heal our heart, but we have to be able to open up our heart in order to get the healing that we need. He said, like you said, if they will humble themselves and they will seek my face. That seeking my face means to seek a right relationship with him.
Right.
You see, when you seek somebody's face, it's different than seeking their mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than seeking their attributes, their physical attributes. It's not seeking a hand. See, because when we seek his face, we will see his hand in everything.
Amen. Amen. Shane, by the way, are you a business owner, my friend?
Yes, I am.
What's your business? Are you open? Are you how are you dealing with all of this? What's the business first of all?
Well, we haven't quite launched yet, but we have been. I tell you what, it's putting me behind. The business it's a business to business networking mobile app. And
awesome.
What we do is we bring businesses together, together to network together and to referral people together and to and what's going to happen here? It's going to be a next level business to business. I don't know if you're familiar with the BNIs, but the Business Networking International. It's the same concept except on steroids and in real time.
Awesome.
And this type of thing right here, it sets everybody back. I mean, how many CEOs have we had drop out in the last week? Well, since November, I think the last count was like over 150 people.
Right.
Bill Gates stepped down. Bill Gates stepped down.
Wow.
We looking at the biggest of the biggest CEOs, the powerful companies and the powerful corporations. Walmart's leadership took their stock and put it in trust funds.
Wow. Well, listen.
I mean,
I need a favor from you, Shane. When you get the app up and running, and all of this starts to stabilize, call me back. I'd love to get you on the show and help you put that app out there because it sounds like a great app that could benefit a lot of people.
Man, I tell you what, that would be great, Mr. Ed. I've always enjoyed listening to you. Whenever you was on the news, I used to listen to you, and your show is just dynamite. It's just it's something that's always informative.
Bless your heart.
It's always on time. And the thing that I really enjoy the most is that it's while it could be confrontational at times,
right.
It always has the ability to get your voice out there on both sides of the stem, so we can look at both sides of the fence
and be respectful about it.
Absolutely. And I enjoyed that about your show. But yes, I definitely will get with you, and it shouldn't be long. We're looking, now with the setback, we don't know what's going to happen with it, but that just gives me more time to, to perfect what God is the vision that God has given me.
Fantastic. Well, Shane, I look forward to it. God bless you, my friend. Take care of yourself.
You too, Ed. Good talking to you, and see you soon.
All right, my friend. Got to get our final break of this hour out of the way. And Marty's kind of frantically waving at me off air because we're past where we need to be to get this final break. Got a line for you, 225-831-1029. How do we deal with these situations where we have entities, groups, organizations that refuse to abide by the guidelines set down by the government to help us get past this coronavirus? 225-831-1029. Call me up. Let's talk. Final break of this edition of the Clarence Bugg Show.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Welcome back for the final segment of the inaugural edition of the Clarence Bug Show. It is something that's been a long time in the making. And got to tip my hat to a bunch of guys that have made this all possible. And we're all super hyped about it. And it's got the opportunity to be something that South Louisiana likes, something South Louisiana needs, and certainly something we want here in South Louisiana. The ability and the opportunity for Louisiana folks to talk with other Louisiana folks about the things that affect us all. 225-831-1029 is the number that will get you aboard. 225-831-1029. We've been talking this hour about what is a sticky situation. Life Tabernacle Church that has refused to abide by the recommended guidelines set out there by the government, limiting the number of individuals allowed per gathering. How do we deal with this? Do you enforce this by rule of law? Do you send in the National Guard? Do you use local law enforcement? Do you just kind of hope for the best that maybe they will see the wisdom of the guidelines that we're setting down if we simply talk with them about it? How do you deal with this, understanding the ramifications that are involved here and the potential fatal consequences? Marty, do we have a name for? Oh, okay. We got a great friend of ours on line one. You all know him and you all love him. He's a guy that is as Louisiana as boudin and crawfish. Roger Cador, my friend, how are you, big guy?
Boudin and crawfish?
Yes, sir. You are as Louisiana as boudin and crawfish, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good, and you, Clarence?
I'm doing well. I managed to avoid coronavirus so far, so it's a good start to the day.
You're doing right. You're doing right.
So how is the new norm affecting you? How are you adjusting to all of these changes in everyday life, Coach?
Well, I'm listening to the professionals and trying to do what they ask me to, so it's not that difficult. It's definitely, being retired makes it a lot easier because you don't have all of the other responsibilities that I once had. You got them?
Right.
So it makes it a lot easier.
Of course, now at the same time, you and I are both in that group of individuals that this impacts most. How are you feeling as you look at our fellow Americans and our fellow Louisianians? How are you feeling about the job that they are doing to protect people in our age group?
Well, they're doing an outstanding job, as the other people all over the country, as they try to give us the quality information and they provide the quality service that protects everyone.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to throw you into the frying pan here, because I know for a fact that you are a man of God. I know that you have a very firm and solid relationship with the Lord. How do we deal with situations like this when we have a church that refuses to abide by the recommendations that our leaders have set out there? How do we deal with this, Coach?
Well, first of all, that tells me he's not cared enough about his congregation, his members enough, that he would put them in that situation. And normally people try to follow their leader. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And but you shouldn't put them in a vulnerable situation when they know that when you're in a crowd, this is the way this virus spread quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
And more normally, churchgoers are usually more on the older people and who are going to be more vulnerable to that. I tell you what, the good Lord knows if you care about him and you do the things right, whether you're in the church or not, you know, he'll take care of you if you do it right. But when you put yourself in harm's way, there's nothing even he could do for it. As General Russell Honore said, I watched him on television Sunday morning. He said people do stupid things and it cause problems for other people, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, it's great to hear your voice. I got to run. I'm getting the signal from Mighty. We'll talk soon, my friend.
All right, y'all take care. Bye,
all right,
Alan.
Coach. Thank you. It's, let me say for the record, having watched the interview with the pastor of Life Tabernacle Church, he is firm in his belief that God will protect the members of his congregation. As a practicing Christian, I respect that. I have to respect that. As an American, I have to respect that. So I find myself, like so many other people, caught between a rock and a hard place, not wanting to be judgmental of this individual, understanding his right to freely worship what he wants, the way he wants, how he wants. But we're going to have to come to grips with this because we are talking about potentially fatal repercussions. It's been a blast being back with you again. And I guess I should try to do it within the allotted time frame that we have here, just for my radio listeners from many years past. You know what? I'll give it to you. You're right, America, we're not perfect. But doggone it, for my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Take care of yourselves. Let's take care of each other. And we'll see you on the next edition of the Clarence Bugg Show.